Nothing quite stirs the pot and brings up contention like the idea of keeping certain wild animals as pets, and this is especially true when it comes to big cats. When people think of such animals, it's usually with awe and reverence. Wildcats have come to symbolize untamed beauty and boundless freedom in the minds of many. Surprisingly, however, when it comes to internet star Messi the Cougar, who is unapologetically presented as a docile pet, something remarkable has occurred. Most people who see videos of this pet cougar do not object to it. In fact, it is often a celebrated relationship. Of course, the standard comments usually apply. It is often stated that while Messi seems to be doing very well with his owners, he is still a quote wild animal. People act as though while it is inherently immoral to keep big cats as pets, Messi's situation is some kind of exception since he was supposedly a rescue. This is all despite the fact that the owners purchased the cheetah as a pet for a substantial undisclosed fee, but that's another topic. His owners have probably also spoken out against keeping cougars as pets at one point, which is, inexplicably, a common stance exotic pet owners have. They tend to eat up the praise they get, while decrying others who are interested in doing what they did. So I'm actually going to challenge this assumption. In fact, I'm going to make an argument that not only is Messi very likely a domesticated animal, but his videos show us that cougars could actually be selectively bred to make excellent pets. I don't think Messi is an anomaly at all. As far as the history of Messi, he was born in a Russian zoo, and supposedly this zoo didn't care for him properly. This caused the cougar to develop certain pathologies. One source says they are rickets and muscle weakness. Now this is actually unfortunately a common occurrence with exotic cats, because many people believe they should have a raw diet, so they feed the animals unbalanced portions of animal parts, thinking they are giving it a natural diet. But when they don't use commercial diets that are nutritionally complete, their bones develop abnormally because of nutritional deficiencies. That's what I believe occurred with Messi. It probably wasn't intentional neglect. It's important, however, to note this, because it is a variable when it comes to Messi's development. He is said to be 30% smaller than a healthy cougar should be. Indeed, his small size is very interesting to me. He is about the size of a standard larger dog. He is nothing like a lion or a tiger, and I've always put it out there that when it comes to the level of danger a certain animal poses, size is a pertinent factor, especially when the animal is a carnivore, and especially when that animal has evolved to efficiently kill large prey. So we'd presume that cougars are inherently dangerous because they hunt animals like large deer, right? Well, the truth is actually more complex than that. Many animals vary by population and are not fixed. We see this in various groups of animals that are sometimes designated as subspecies. Not all cougars are so large, and not all cougar populations regularly hunt large animals. In fact, as you get closer to the equator, cougars are smaller in size, around 100 pounds for males and 70 pounds for females, versus 200 to 140 pounds in colder climates. Cougars in temperate climates also tend to specialize on hunting large deer. In general, the larger the cat, the larger prey they hunt. Now, all cougars are powerful, relatively large animals, and yes, any adult cougar is capable of killing a human. In fact, in one extremely rare incident, a human was killed by a cougar in Oregon, weighing only 64 pounds. However, this was an animal adapted to killing larger prey but was underweight. In warmer areas, cougars hunt smaller prey such as armadillos, capybara, poodoo, which is a somewhat small deer species, and European hares. Even though they have the capability to take down larger animals, as their morphology permits, it's notable that attacks against humans are even more rare with these populations. In fact, the endangered Florida panther population has never killed a human, and attacks from cougars living in Central and South America are so exceedingly rare that some naturalists believed it was not possible for these cats to be interested in killing even a sleeping child. So while cougars evolve their prey preferences based on prey availability in a particular region, it's apparent that this actually shapes their mindset towards what they consider to be prey. Even a small bobcat can successfully hunt deer. However, I've yet to see a human fatality. There have been rabid bobcat attacks that humans successfully fought off. 99% of cougars, for the most part, avoid humans and see them as a threat. Most fatal attacks have occurred in colder climates, usually with sick or compromised, desperate animals. Thankfully, the number of attacks is minuscule. There have been about 126 recorded attacks in America in recorded history, and only 27 of those were fatal. Of course, a significant number of the victims were young children. Smaller humans are sometimes even a concern for large dogs that have an embedded prey drive. Yet, it's also important to note that wild cougars are substantially different from cougars socialized in human care. Wild living cougars develop their hunting abilities and learn how to kill certain prey to survive. And this doesn't occur with cougars raised to identify humans as companions. These cougars also don't develop their mostly solitary behavior, and this occurs with tigers too. Sometimes this can be a double-edged sword because socialized animals don't usually see adult humans as prey, but they might be more likely to get into disputes with humans because they see them as competitors. That being said, I haven't seen this as being a huge issue with cougars as it is with deer and other species. Taking all of this into account, a different picture of the cougar emerges. Our domesticated dog population, more than half of which is too small to be physically capable of killing a healthy adult human, is not immune to fatal attacks against humans. However, they are not wholly considered to be dangerous. In the last 40 or so years, there's actually been only one fatal attack from a captive cougar, and these cats are not rare in captivity compared to, say, a cheetah. In that particular circumstance, it might have been two captive cougars that killed a zoo sanctuary worker who was alone cleaning their enclosure, and the animal was presumably unsocialized. Then you have the existence of smaller cougars that naturally prey on smaller species and might be less likely to see humans as prey, similar to the smaller wolf populations that were the predecessors to domesticated dogs. Theoretically, if we were to selectively breed these smaller cougars with excellent dispositions, like that of Messi the cougar, we could domesticate them in the same sense as domesticated dogs. Messi's size seems rather small, and again, this can partially be due to inadequate early nutrition. However, his weight is not out of range for some wild-living cougars. I don't know if Messi descends from tropical cougars or not, but we know the species has the genetic potential to be reduced in size. But aside from this smaller stature, Messi seems to have a very relaxed temperament, one we associate as ideal pet-type behavior. Messi the cougar shows us just how dog-like a cougar can be. He's tame enough to have a hands-on exam from a veterinarian, he can walk on a leash, go to the city, safely interact with the public, and he's even gone to obedience classes with dogs, and I really envy Russia's openness to non-mainstream pets. He has the qualities that most people are looking for in a pet, even though the qualities are not mandatory for an animal to be a good pet for someone. Larger cats certainly seem to have dispositions like this, compared to smaller cats like servals, Asian leopard cats, and sand cats. It's almost like a trade-off. The bigger the cat, the better the temperament, but also the more easily the animal can cause injury or death. So what makes cougars desirable is that they have that large cat personality, giving them the confidence to be a level-headed dog-like animal, but they come in a small package compared to an animal like a tiger, so they are not so dangerous. And I believe with a good breeding program, these traits can be enhanced. In fact, this is how I believe domestication really works. You need those pre-existing traits to work with. You won't get dramatically different behavior from nothing. Dogs and cats likely started out not really being much different from what we see today. Some animals have this naturally. Messi is not a coincidence. I also believe that of another internet star, Luna the leopard, which is another very small big cat. Leopards are another species that vary in size. Luna is 74 pounds, weighing less than the Rottweiler she lives with, who is 105 pounds. Now, selective breeding is just another form of domestication, but domestication will occur whether it's intentional or not in captive settings. Science has shown us that captive animals actually differ morphologically from their wild counterparts, mirroring aspects of so-called domestication syndrome. Presumably, Messi descends from captive cougars, so he is likely already domesticated, depending on how you use that word. Certainly at least in a sense of animals like hamsters and gerbils. So I know people are going to want to ask this. Why do this? Why not just get a regular cat? Well, owning a cat is a completely different experience from owning a dog, and a big cat even more so. I know there are going to be people who think such a thing needs to be justified, and it really doesn't. However, there would be a potential benefit of helping to establish these species in higher numbers. For instance, if such a thing was accomplished with thylacines, even if we only had domesticated forms around today, that would be way better than having the species completely extinct. Of course, I doubt the entire cougar species as a whole is threatened with extinction. The point is that it would be a remarkable experience and opportunity to own a domestic cougar. The risk of owning one would be more akin to a large dog like a Boerboel or Caucasian Shepherd, in some cases less risky. I can certainly confirm that I'd feel safer around an animal like Messi than certain dogs. However, of course, there's a massive hurdle that will prevent this from becoming a reality. The recently signed Big Cat Public Safety Act pretty much makes it illegal for a member of the public to even lay a finger on a cougar or come within 15 feet of it without a thick glass separation, even if it is a tiny baby. If there was any justification for parts of this law, it should have only regulated giant cats like lions and tigers. I place cougars closer to cats like clouded leopards and cheetahs, and no one should have the right to tell people they can't legally interact with these animals. There just isn't a logical or scientific basis for it, other than personal anti-captivity opinions. So anyway, in upcoming videos, I will be more thoroughly discussing the completely misunderstood concept of domestication and how our misinterpretations of it have corrupted our scientific understanding of animals. That's it for this video. Until next time, please subscribe if you like what I'm discussing here, and yeah, thanks for watching.